we want to say hello to our listeners in Lagos and across. And we'll be looking at so many things today. Bukola and I will be looking at a number of things as it relates to the pandemic and how technology has helped us manage some of the challenges that we faced over the last 9, 10 months. We have no guests today, but I believe Bukola and I will be able to discuss a few things that would help a lot of small businesses understand how best to go about their business going forward and plan better for 2021. Good morning once again. Bukola, hi, how are you and how was your weekend?
It wasn't bad at all. And yours?
It was great.
Mhm.
Um, so today it's just you and I, and based on our earlier chats, I think let's look at how technology has helped businesses not lose so much money um, as a result of the pandemic, and what kind of opportunities these challenges have opened up for businesses across the world, and how small businesses can take advantage of them. So I would let me ask. Um, Usually I would have been in the studio talking to you and sharing the microphone on one side, but today we're on Zoom and it's helped us continue with this show. So what are your thoughts on this, Bukola?
Well, I think it just shows the way the world is heading now. You don't necessarily have to be physically at a place, depending on the kind of services you're actually rendering. But it's not a bad idea, given the fact that with Lagos, the way the whole traffic thing is going at this point, it's mad, and it's taking off the stress of people as it's taking off the stress of people. So I think it's not a bad one. I mean, technology has indeed helped, and probably that's part of the I wouldn't would I say should I say pros of COVID-19 that people woke up to, that you don't necessarily have to be in a place. We like activity a lot. You're driving, have a meeting in Ikoyi all the way from maybe Korodu town. You're driving down, oh, I have a meeting in Ikoyi, I have a meeting in Ikoyi. But with this discovery now, you realize that you can take that stress off you. And even
Yeah.
with your employers as well, you can actually work it out in such a way that not necessarily everyone have to be on the road to increase productivity. Well, that's the way I see it.
Good thing you said. You mentioned two things, Bukola, that come to mind, and how the pandemic has helped a lot of people realign how they manage their time. The first one is traffic in Lagos. Like you said, a lot of people now don't have to wake up so early to drive from Ikorodu town to VI just because they have a meeting at 7 o'clock. That's one. And at the end of the day, you find out that they can still wake up at 6 o'clock, hook onto the internet and conduct their meetings and be productive. And that brings me to the issue of how small businesses, I think, can start to create partnerships that will be enduring and last a long time, and also be able to provide services for multiple clients without having to be in the client's complex every day. So at this point, you should be looking at how you can improve on your services by what we'll call time sharing. So because we have 24 hours in a day, we don't have enough time as usual, but you can actually dedicate 4 or 5 hours of your time every day to multiple clients and deliver on your key performance indicators as you see. So one of the things that come to me is ensuring that businesses, especially small businesses, start to look for how they will provide these services and ensure that they can share their time, um, get multiple streams of income rather than having to be in a client's office for a contract of 1 year, and you're either stuck in traffic, and the hours you should be providing service for someone else, you're, you're trying to battle to get into a client's office. The other part for me is also the employers. How are you looking at managing talent and sourcing talent across the world, from the fact that technology is going to help you drive your business. Once key performance indicators have been aligned with what the deliverables are, then you start to monitor them. And it also provides you the opportunity to reduce cost in terms of electricity, in terms of internet service, in terms of fuel and diesel consumption. So all those things can be properly channeled into, rather than having one talent being in your office 8, 10 hours in a day. You can actually attract 2, 3 different kinds of talent for different areas, and maximize your your output and service delivery. Um, so based on that, you can see the partnership between Nairametrics and Classic. We don't have to get up early in the morning and drive all the way to Ikoyi from our various places, and we're still delivering this service and this information across Lagos to our audience. Bukola, you want to share some other things that might be useful to small businesses as we go on before we take a break?
Just as you said, you mentioned a couple of things. Even with physical space, paying for rents, you realize that you can now cut down on rent expenses where you think you need a big office. You might just need a small office where you share the roster, people who come in at different times of the week. And I think it's all about saving cost. Really, it helps. Technology has really helped to save cost. So I guess with COVID, a lot of people will have to review their mode of operation and look, okay, do we necessarily need this big office, or do we need to just have a little space where X, Y, and Z come in on Monday, and W and Y coming on Thursday, or things like that. And you even operating from your own space, depending on the kind of the kind of business you're running. So I think it's technology has done a lot really for businesses, and COVID woke us up to that fact. Though we want COVID to go, that's the pro. I would
That's the reality, yeah.
that's the pro I would say we've taken from COVID though, but it's not a bad one. It's the world is evolving. The world is evolving.
Okay. As we prepare to take a break, I will just say a few things about the opportunities that businesses have. We've spoken about talent. We're now even looking at the other side of the show. We'll be looking at how infrastructure developers and can create new partnerships in terms of working together and providing, like Bukola said, office spaces that would help businesses be able to take advantage of reduced rent, but having more people in terms of turnover coming. So rather than renting an office for a year, we can rent it on an hourly basis. We can rent it on a daily basis, and you would have those streams of income coming to you. And this is something we believe that small businesses should start looking at, for especially for those who have office spaces, and how can you manage those spaces and provide the needed infrastructure for you to make additional streams of income aside from your primary line of business. And that these are, like I said, COVID. We want COVID to go. Thank God the vaccines are already moving around by the producers, and we're hoping that by this time next year, the whole world would have stabilized with the vaccines going around the world. But like we said, huge opportunities for infrastructure developers, for employers, for employees, for talent, for you just name it, for service providers, for even those who move goods. These are huge opportunities for you. We've seen the impact of technology on online buying and selling. And with Black Friday, the, in the last 10 years, you've had the largest amount of sales for online businesses and across goods and services moving around.
Just local,
So
it's not just local as well. It's gone above the continents, transacting
exactly,
what you think you get on a plane for now, you don't necessarily have to get on a plane for. So it's not.
exactly, Bukola. Bukola, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll talk more about partnerships that can happen as a result of the impact of technology.
All right, stay with us. It's Classic FM 97.3 Business Half Hour. We're there on the other side, and I am here. We're talking about technology and business this morning. We'll be back. Technology and business this morning, how it's impacted, and COVID how things have changed after the COVID times. So before the break, we talked about how you don't necessarily have to be everywhere now. You can always transact your business within your space. And we're moving over to partnerships now.
Yes, we are, and we'll be looking at how COVID we're looking at how COVID has impacted us as a globe, and being in a global economy, we have to realize the fact that many more things have to start coming out, especially ideas in terms of infrastructure to support technology and to drive businesses, to drive the movement of goods and services across the world. One thing that always comes to me is in terms of offices, and Bukola mentioned it earlier, you don't have to rent big spaces, and having big spaces doesn't necessarily mean that your business is big. But one thing for me that comes to mind in terms of partnership is how will new offices start to look? How will new residents start to look? Do we see opportunities in terms of partnerships with technology companies and infrastructure development people in terms of how you build houses, how environmental friendly are they, what kind of power availability will be there, and this for us as businesses, and those who talk about businesses, are huge opportunities that we see over the next 5-10 years in terms of property development, in terms of environmental friendliness, and so on. So off the air, Bukola and I were talking about how do you build a house to ensure that people can have internet, can have the right kind of um, atmosphere for you to be able to feel comfortable to work from home. Bukola, what do you see, and what opportunities do you see from this perspective?
You talked about what opportunity from?
I said we talked about how people should start building houses, building their offices to provide the needed infrastructure driven by technology. So we're not on the roads 24/7. We're not flying around the world to meet people, except when it is necessary, and so on. And from that perspective, what do you think this kind of partnerships can bring, and how do you think this kind of partnerships can work?
They would work. It's amazing how people think. You'll be amazed that some idea will come out of this now, and a lot of structure with creativity and all will be done to suit the trend of living at this point in time. So I see opportunities. I see opportunities arising. It takes a lot just sitting at the table and thinking out prospects of how you feel. Okay, this is it. These are the things we want to do. This is the kind of structure we want to put in place to support this new style, this new normal that we have. But it doesn't still cut off people interacting, though. It doesn't still cut off people interacting. But I just believe
I,
as we evolve, things will start. Ideas come up. Some things that we are used to today, we never thought, our own parents or our forefathers never thought they would come up. So as we go on, you just realize that somebody wakes up and is like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is the idea I have, how I can do a home and an office space and stuff, things like that. So they'll definitely come up.
and you mentioned something about people interacting. I think and I believe that with this new normal, there is a huge space for increased interactions in terms of partnerships. So for instance, you want to build an estate, for instance, rather than just having the engineers put the blocks together, you start thinking about, oh, so how do we partner with internet providers? How do we partner with electricity providers? How do we ensure that our, our new estate would create those opportunities for people to be able to live, work, um, um, what's it called, socialize, without really having to get on the roads every day, being in traffic, coming back home tired, having to wake up early. Sometimes, with all this, I see opportunities for people having better lifestyles, um, having more relaxed atmospheres even in their homes to be able to create ideas, like you said, create new partnerships, create new things that would continually improve, first and foremost, improve the lifespan of people in general,
Especially in Nigeria,
reduce
we see that.
es- exactly, reduce environmental pollution from the perspective of having less cars on the road, cars being on the road where necessary, increase the opportunities for better transport networks and systems. So you really don't have to drive a car to get somewhere because there are fewer cars, there are more buses,
True.
um, and so on. And like you said, cross border businesses and interactions will continue, and you would fly when it is necessary. This, and it would also, for me, I think it will also create a lot more in terms of tourism. So people are traveling not because they really have to work, but because they need to
Pleasure.
relax, they need to see new places. Exactly. And more people will be able to experience the globe and the world and see new things. And that for me is a huge impact of COVID-19 and the pandemic on the globe. But we continually see opportunities, especially for small businesses. And we've had people on the show who talked about tourism, who look at opportunities for creating this kind of services for people. And when people are more relaxed, there's a tendency for them to want to take a bit more holidays. And even then, with technology, you can work wherever you are.
And
And
right now
so,
we have unseen ideas. Just like whoever thought, we never thought like 2 years back or 3 years back we would be using a Zoom. So there are still some
exactly.
ideas that are there in the pipeline that we won't have even thought about in our own minds. And is as we move on and necessity demands, we start
I,
to
I,
see and
I,
be
I,
like, oh wow, so this can actually happen. So we haven't seen the end yet, really.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And for me, what I see is huge playing space for small and medium scale businesses, because and with that, increased employment, increased talent management, improve improved talent. People are going to start to acquire knowledge on different in different areas towards ensuring that they can provide the needed service, and generally just creating a more robust economy, a more diverse economy that will generate more wealth in the short, medium, and long term. And and small businesses, especially those in the technology space, those in the service space, should start thinking about how these partnerships can work and how they can create the needed employment for the 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 large numbers of unemployed young people, especially in Nigeria and across Africa, that has a huge market of young talent as we go on. So I see opportunities in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term, with what technology has shown us, what Zoom has opened our eyes to. And like Bukola said, there are so many other things that would come up, like the likes of Zoom, that would help provide the needed services across board, across the country, across continents, and the world as a whole.
So it's where technology is mind blowing though. Sometimes I could have my reservations about technology, but if we can't underestimate the power of technology as well. But if you just know where to draw the line, that is me and technology. We should just know where to draw the line. But if it enhances human living, good. But sometimes it could be detrimental. That is why I have an issue with technology, though. But once it enhances human living, I'm fine. I'm good to go.
We all do have our reservations about technology, and one thing I always tell people is, without human beings thinking and creating new ideas, technology won't improve. So once as humans we start to think about how technology would improve the lots of the human race, it provides us new opportunities, new ways of doing business, new ways of interacting. Like I haven't seen Bukola in over 6 months, but we talk every week. We listen to each other aside from listening to our program on radio, and these are the things that the good things that technology has brought to us from the pandemic. On this note, I would like to say thank you to all our listeners for listening to us today, and thank you, Bukola, for a great discourse. And we look forward to having a guest in the studio on Monday, and very soon, very soon, Bukola will be back in the studios, and we'll be able to see each other and talk more aside from seeing each other on Zoom. Thank you once again. This has been Business Half Hour, and I hand the baton back to Bukola.
All right, Wadia, it's good. I would look forward to seeing you physically and not in cyberspace. All right. Have a lovely day.
You too.